So UFC Fight Night Mexico just took place last night with Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg in the main event, and this is my reaction to the card. So there were 12 fights in total, 5 stoppage victories on the card. Let's start right away with the main event. That was Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Does someone want to let Steve Erceg know that he's in a fight and not a sparring session? Because what's with the tippy-tappy shit? What's with the hitting Brandon Moreno's guard and that's it? Like, Steve Erceg, I think, out-volumed. Let me just have a look. Total strikes. Yeah, he threw more and landed more than what Brandon Moreno did. But it was all just bullshit tippy-tappy shots. Like, Moreno won this fight 4 rounds to 1 in my opinion. Starting off in the first round, the first 2 rounds in particular, I thought Brandon Moreno looked really, really good in there. Like, really good. In the first round, Brandon Moreno, he was doing some interesting things on the feet. Like, and this is another thing that Steve Erceg's kind of fallen into this trap where it's like, and even like the tweets that were coming through mid-fight, like, Steve Erceg, he's so technical. Wow, everything Steve Erceg does is so technical. Don't get me wrong, this guy's a very technical striker and he's got some amazing scrambles that he showed off in this fight as well as the Pantoja matchup. But it's all well and good being technical, but are you winning fights being technical? And the answer here is no. You know, Steve Erceg is now on a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC's flyweight division. And yes, he has lost to elite guys, Brandon Moreno, Kai Car-France, and the champion of the division in Pantoja. But really, when you think of it, like, Steve Erceg's got this far off chinning Matt Chanel. Outside of that, the guy doesn't have many big wins. In fact, he doesn't have any other big wins. That is his last win. I know he looked competitive against Pantoja, and there was this weird narrative around the time that he beat Pantoja, which I never seen that narrative, to be honest. If you go back and watch that fight, Pantoja does win. Yes, Steve Erceg does look good in there. Yes, he does. But Pantoja does win that. He got knocked out by Kai Car-France. Kai Car-France, surprisingly, in the flyweight division, he's probably the biggest puncher in that division. Well, one of anyway. Not very often you see people getting KO'd in the first round. And then Brandon Moreno, former UFC flyweight champion, very well rounded. But like I said, Brandon Moreno in the matchup is throwing a lot of not like unorthodox stuff, like that leaping left hand. The overhand right was money for him all night. And like, I know this is shit. Like, what would be the words to describe this? Like, I know it's all well and good me sitting here saying this in my fucking half broken chair in my house, in my bedroom, after watching these guys fight. But like, there was just some shots that I thought really would have worked well for Steve Erceg. And again, this is like the fucking couch coach right here, but I just want to give my opinion on it anyway. Brandon Moreno was very, very heavy on his lead leg in that matchup. Like, Brandon Moreno's kind of adopted this style now with a very, very high guard and is very heavy on his lead leg. And Steve Erceg didn't really take advantage of that. Now, Steve Erceg, yes, was on the back foot for a lot of this fight, and that will make it hard to throw the leg kicks. And when Steve Erceg did plant, that is when Moreno would fucking lunge in with these massive hooks and overhand rights. Moreno's body work, by the way, in this fight was really, really good as well. But even when Moreno was constantly in his face, you know, there was times Steve Erceg landed nice tapes, there was times he landed nice head kicks, there was times he landed nice body kicks, and there was times that he was throwing a weapon that I thought he really should have utilised in this matchup, which was that knee, because Steve Erceg was much taller than Moreno. Moreno just in general is smaller than Steve Erceg, but the way his stance now when he fights is very heavy on the lead leg, high guard and down, and I thought the knee up the middle would have been there all night for Steve Erceg. Don't get me wrong, like, it's not as if Steve Erceg, I know he lost the fight 4 rounds to 1, but the rounds were competitive. Round 1, Brandon Moreno caught him with that big overhand right, kind of knocked Steve Erceg off balance. Round 2, kind of much of the same. He didn't get knocked off balance, but I just thought Moreno was landing the more better shots. Like, Erceg might have landed more, but the damaging shots were done from Brandon Moreno, if you know what I mean. Going into round 3, that is the round I give to Steve Erceg. Like, in moments, it looked like Steve Erceg was like, oh shit, we're fighting. And then it looked like he threw a bit of venom looking to hurt Brandon Moreno. And then other times, it really was just tippy-tappy shots on the guard. Like slap punches to the arms of Brandon Moreno. I don't really know, like, what was Steve Erceg, was he just never that good? And the Matt Chanel win. Then you pair that with the timing of the Pantoja matchup that he was like kind of rushed into, and styles make fights with Pantoja being a grappling heavy fighter and Steve Erceg with really, really good scrambles. You know, like is he just not that good? Like I said, rounds were competitive, but Moreno won the fight clearly. Round 1, round 2, Moreno. Round 3, I thought Moreno was starting to slow down. That's when Steve Erceg won. A lot of tweets were coming in saying like, Erceg's so technical, the momentum's going to Steve Erceg. Round 4, I give to Moreno, and round 5, I give to Brandon Moreno. Moreno was able to get top control. He didn't really do much of it. It was kind of like he caught Steve Erceg as he threw a kick, kind of tripped him, stuff like that. Round 4 is when Moreno went for the takedown, I believe, I remember correctly, and Steve Erceg showed some really good scramble. And the way he was just like a fish out of water, just flopping around the floor, so Moreno couldn't get anywhere near him once the takedown was secured. But overall, Brandon Moreno looked really, really good. Obviously, he doesn't deserve a title shot. This fight in general just didn't make sense. I mean, this was originally meant to be Steve Erceg, Asiam Mabayev, and Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval a couple of weeks back on the same card. Then Royval pulled out. Then you had give Manel Kape, who's way higher in the rankings than Steve Erceg, you give him Asiam Mabayev, and then you give Steve Erceg, coming off 2 losses and a KO loss, to Brandon Moreno. Really, this should have been Moreno versus Kape. That's the fight to make now. In my opinion, it seems like Pantoja is fighting Kai Car-France next. So do Moreno versus Manel Kape in the meantime. What's next for Steve Erceg? Do you rebook him against Asiam Mabayev? Maybe. That there is probably the option to go with. Both guys coming off losses. But Steve Erceg really needs to get his finger out here and start fucking performing, because this guy's on a 3-fight losing streak now. And I know he is technical. But are you winning fights by being technical? Sometimes you have to throw caution to the wind. You're down on the cards. You need to hurt Moreno. Just didn't see it. And the shots, the knee up the middle. There was no elbows really thrown. Leg kicks. I thought that the kick to the calf would have been money for him. But again, all well and good me saying this sitting from my fucking bedroom. Moving on to the co-main event. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. What a KO from Manuel Torres. He absolutely smoked Drew Dober in there. Drew Dober was protesting an early stoppage. It was kind of like Torres caught him with a straight right, just absolutely blitzed him with it. Drew Dober just like held on to his ankle, just like lay like this while he's just getting his fucking head caved in. And then he stood back up like this. He was all over the show. And then whenever the referee was like, "No, that's it, done." And he's like you get to see him, it looked like he was saying like, "What's done?" or like, "Why is it done?" or "What's done?" It's like, mate, you just got absolutely fucking sent to the shadow realm. Manuel Torres, great KO. I did predict him to win this matchup. A part of me felt like he would have hurt Drew Dober in the first round, but Drew Dober has good recovery. I thought he would have recovered. And then in the later stages, because I thought Torres would have just completely gassed himself out trying to get the finish on Drew Dober, I thought Drew Dober would have had success later on in the fight and Torres would have won by decision, but completely not what happened. Drew Dober, always fun to watch, but at like 36 years of age, the amount of damage this guy takes, it's maybe time to hang up the gloves if you're Drew Dober. Yeah. Although I need to see what his Muin fucking routine is, because that chin, goddamn. But anyway, Manuel Torres, how good is Bahamontes though? Because Bahamontes finished him in the first round. This is what we need to see though. Torres now needs to push on to the guys in the top 15. Someone just ranked inside the top 15, not a top 10 opponent yet, but you've got him, Mauricio Ruffy. You've got Bahamontes now in the rankings. Paddy Pimlet's obviously fighting Michael Chandler. Let's get new blood up the rankings here. Let's go. Let's push these guys on. Good win from him. Edgar Chairez absolutely fucking butchered CJ Vergara. This guy has to be gone, surely. Like, what I loved about Edgar Chairez's performance here is he absolutely rocked CJ Vergara's shit with that left hook. Like, I mean, hit him with the left hook. Hurt him. CJ just never really recovered. And then it's not as if Edgar like kind of rushed to put him away in the feet. The guy was happy to take his back and sub him. Very, very good work from him in there. Obviously the level of opponent. how good is Edgar Chairez? I think he is good. I really do. I think this guy is good. A lot of potential in the flyweight division. CJ Vergara, though, pack your bags. You're going to the GFL. Congrats. Moving on down, Raul Rosas Jr. Fuck, he was close not to get subbed. He did deserve to win, and he is 20 years of age, so there is a lot of room for improvements here. But very, very close. Very close night for him at the office there not to be submitted. What's next for him? A part of me just feels like I want to see him fight Cody Garbrandt. I don't know why. I don't know. Moving on down, David Martinez versus Oliveira. Yo, this guy Oliveira, shout out to him, because I want to take time to congratulate him on really honing in on the Ben Askren striking style, because what the fuck was that guy doing? He threw one okay looking spinning back fist, then proceeded to throw like 3 more. One of them was in slow motion. David Martinez just rocked him. Absolutely rocked him. The ground and pound finish as well. Very, very nice for him. But Oliveira needs to fucking wake up, because that striking, that's not it. Ronaldo Rodriguez. Someone that I thought was going to be a potential star. I thought it was going to be a real good performance for him. He looked ass. He looked shit. Moving on, we have got Ateba. I can't say a second name. You know I can't say second names. I'm not even going to try and say it. Really good first round KO from him. Really, really good first round KO, to be honest. I've seen a lot of people saying, comparing him to Ngannou, which is funny because Ngannou was a heavyweight, not a middleweight, but I kind of get what they're going for, like that KO. I think he looks a bit more polished at this stage of his career than what Ngannou was. He's a big puncher. That's really it. I mean, I would like to see him step up in competition now. Yeah, I thought he looked good. I mean, a lot of people saying African MMA is back in the UFC. I mean, is it really? Who did he just beat? Are we going to say Medina's a really good win to have? To say African MMA is back? Not that it's ever really left. I mean, Adesanya's obviously going to lose a streak. So is Usman. So actually, maybe it has left. So maybe it is coming back here. Christian Rodriguez versus Costa. So Christian Rodriguez beats Simon and Raul Rosas Jr. Misses weight for those matchups. Ruins these prospects. And then loses this matchup.
But what the hell, boy?
Moving on, Lupe Godinez got the win. I didn't watch this fight, to be honest. I can't remember what I was doing when this fight was on. Although I did see on Twitter was someone saying they needed a shit during this fight, which is fucking hilarious. Let me see what else there to comment on. Yeah, Jamal Emmers, what good KO win. Him and his corner fighting. I'm pretty sure it was them. His corner men fighting with each other is fucking hilarious. That there was hilarious. Overall, UFC Fight Night Mexico was a good card. A lot of fun finishes on there. A big difference from what we've seen at UFC Fight Night London. Let me know what you thought of this card in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you again in the next one.